Hello everyone, welcome back to FUN-dations for college students, the most awesome podcast you'll ever listen to. Today I have a special guest, Dan Novak, my fellow music educator colleague. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm very happy to have you here. So let's get into what we're going to talk about today, the singing child. Now you're a singer, so you know what it's like to be a singing child. So children love to sing, so since you love singing, did you also love it as a kid? Did you sing a lot as a kid?
Yes, I did love singing a lot as a kid. There was a lot of early experiences that was thrown into it, but I think I did always like it as a child.
Did you like to sing songs that you saw on like TV shows, or did you like to sing just anything really?
Yeah, actually. So like my earliest experiences from singing is right from movies, like Disney movies. Like I would always have the Mulan soundtrack over and over again. I would like hum like the Cars soundtrack. Like they're not songs, but it's just stuff you hear. But yeah, that's those first experiences.
That's awesome. So actually, as a kid, I was a singer. I used to be in select chorus. I used to be in choir all the time. But I was like, this isn't my path. Like, I started playing clarinet, and I was like, singing is not my path. I would always sing, like, Big Time Rush or, like, Victorious. Like, I loved Victorious and Big Time Rush. So I would always sing, like, stuff from that. But I realized my destined path was to be a clarinetist. And I quit chorus when in like 5th grade, and my teacher was like, why'd you quit? And I was like, it's just not the vibe anymore. So children start developing the ability to sing at such an early age. So like babies are in like their babbling stage when they're like from ages like 0 to 2. They can just like make sounds with their voices, but like they can't like say actual words. So do you have like any younger siblings that like, do you have younger siblings?
I do. I have a younger brother, but he's 18, so I don't really think he babbles that much.
Well, no, like when he was a baby, like did he babble? Did you like have any memories of him babbling? You were probably like 1 year old actually around then, so because your age gap is like
But yeah, I do have experience with that. I mean, I have a bunch of little cousins because my cousins are a lot older than me, and they're babies. Like I have to babysit them occasionally, and just trying to form words, just like da 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 da. They're like adapting to their surroundings. So yeah.
Do you ever have them sing? Do you ever go like, we're gonna sing today?
A little bit. Like once they're getting a little bit older, like I'd say in like one of the oldest ones right now is in like kindergarten, 1st grade age,
wow.
and I'm starting to get her to sing a little bit, which is nice. But yeah, I want to get them as musical as possible, which is nice.
You got on my old YouTube channel, it was like a video from 12 years ago. It's me sitting at the kitchen table with my youngest brother. He's like 7 years younger than me. He was like 1 or 2 years old. He was singing the Victorious theme song, and he wasn't singing the words. Like he was just making noises that sounded like the theme song. And it was so cute. And I looked back at that video after doing this lesson on babbling, and I was like, wow, he was
that's
babbling.
What it is.
Yeah, he was like straight up babbling. And so moving on to when they get older, by the time they reach about 3 years old, they can sing spontaneous songs, which is interesting how they just go from babbling to just being able to say songs. But babies also can do this without knowing that they're doing it. So that's kind of awesome. So then by the time the children reach 4 or 5 years old, they actually can distinguish between their singing voices and their regular voices, and they start finding their vocal range. Now, I feel like it's impossible for children to be like basics. I feel like if you met that was just a joke. I don't actually think children are capable of that. But I guess their vocal range is anywhere from I guess a mezzo. Is it a mezzo tenor that it's called when men can sing tenors can sing higher voices, or is it?
That is countertenor range.
Countertenor, that's what it's called.
I think the best way as a young singer when I was first in chorus in 4th and 5th grade, the only 2 sections that we had were sopranos and altos.
Yeah.
And the altos were mainly, usually boys or, people with lower voices, I should say. But I would say probably that it is technically countertenor, but it's not actually just because their voices have not yet developed.
Yeah, their voices can only stay from that range. So getting into the stuff about training the children's voice and them exploring their vocal range, do you remember the term that helps children successfully create a beautiful tone and aligning the parts of their body in order to get that? I don't want to give the answer away, but
I think I know what you're on to, and I think it's PSP.
PSP, yes it is.
Yes.
Perfect singing posture. Now, how does one attain PSP.
Oof, I go through this every day, and I should be better at it, but I'm not. It's, you gotta have your feet, like, about shoulder width apart, you have to have a raised sternum, your head is in line with your body as if it's being pulled by the string of a puppet. Yep. My voice teacher actually uses that puppet analogy at, like, almost every single lesson.
That's a great analogy to use.
What else? The hands at the side.
Yep.
I'm leaving something out there, I think. What else is there?
You said the puppeteer thing where they're strings attached to the bottom of their back and stuff. They drop their waist with their arms. When they're, like, originally doing it, their head is Oh, no, yeah, this was when they, like, you do, like, the little stretch thing before where, like, you do your knees, then your chest, your head, your shoulder. With different parts of your body. Different parts of your body, yeah. So you have, like, your head hanging down past the knees to the floor, then they gently bounce in that position, and then they slowly rise, and they just align themselves into the nice position to be able to sing. And they have breathing exercises, too, whenever you're in a chorus. I don't remember if they did it here. That's really bad that I don't remember university chorus because I just finished it. But do you do, like, breathing exercises before chorus?
Chorus, voice lessons, practicing, you name it. It's just, it always has to come before actual singing, and it's just you can't. So everybody, like, has walked into a rehearsal where they haven't warmed up. Yeah. They've just gone and sang, and it's been But you always have to make sure you align your breath, align your posture before you even start phonating, before you make any sound. Yeah, you always have to make sure, like, your voice is warmed up too. I can't sing unless I warm up my voice. So, like, before the sight singing and stuff, I have to go or else I'm gonna sound like garbage if I sing like that. So yeah, this is important for training the child's voice. Also, it helps when they sing, they can develop the abilities to discriminate the pitches, to sing in tune. Obviously, as they get older, it'll come to them more and more. Also, it can help if they sing at home daily. So if you were, like, a teacher who was conducting a choir, would you encourage the students to practice at home the music and, like, give them assignments to remember the music? Yeah, I think any good, how do I put it? I think any good elementary music teacher that has an ensemble should always promote practice, because, of course, practice does make perfect. Yeah. Even if it's just for 5, 10, 15 minutes a day, it does not have to be long, but it's always good to have a set number of exercises for different students, let them go through their motions at home when they're comfortable, and that's, they can start singing around their family, they can show off their talent a little bit, but, practice always makes perfect, so the more the merrier. It definitely does. Now, getting into the elementary choir, when I was in chorus, we had to do it 1st and 3rd grade, and then it was optional to do in 4th and 5th grade, so I did it in 4th grade. And my teacher would run the rehearsal, so she'd start with a warm-up, and then so if there were shorter songs we were doing, she would teach it to us, like, have us repeat after her. And she would do it multiple times, so that way, like, we remembered it. Or she would sometimes give us music. Now, it was a little difficult because I feel like I didn't understand how to, what's the word I'm looking for? Make the pitches with my voice at, like, 9 years old. So I thought that was a little hard. But if you were running a choir rehearsal, is there anything you would do differently from when you were in choir? Well, in all truth, so my first choir experiences were in about 4th or 5th grade. Mm-hmm. I don't remember much of the warm-up process. I remember singing at some concerts occasionally, and, but I don't remember the warming up process too much, honestly. Mommy made me mash my M&Ms down. Yeah, would you do that? There'd be a lot of solfeж involved usually, just, because we're still learning it, we're getting used to it, matching, like, pitch to, syllable and stuff like that. Yeah. And I do remember there being breathing. There's always been breathing and singing. But yeah, stuff like that. Like, Mommy made me mash my M&Ms. Like, I do remember doing that one. There's fun ways to spice up, like you said, like putting words to it, putting silly words to it. It'll get kids engaged. They want to get involved when there's stuff like that happening. Yeah, and there would always be different kinds. But Mommy made me mash my M&Ms is like now what I think about whenever I hear pentascales. Oh yeah. I still think about that like to this day because we did it so much throughout elementary school. It was really, really like interesting.
And it's cool, like, learning about how to teach children, because you think about all the stuff your teacher did when you were in elementary school, and you're like, wow, like, this is what they were doing, and, like, they knew what they were doing, and I guess it feels good that they knew what they were doing while they taught you. Now, one of the last things I like to talk about is rote and note. So teaching rote and teaching note, how do they differ from each other? How would you think that they differ from each other?
So rote is it's usually by oral, or it means other than notation. So say a teacher sings a melody, and the kids would have to mirror that. They would have to do what the teacher's doing, and then the notation is introducing actual notation. So there's a visual method for the students to start to get used to, I think.
Yeah. And rote is honestly really great because it helps expand their repertoire through listening to the music multiple times. So when you're using rote, they have to listen to it a lot of times in order to understand it and think about it. But I think that they could learn a little faster through note. Depending on like how advanced your class is, like, because they look at the notes and they're like, okay, like that's like a G and like E, B or something like that. And I feel like it would, for at least visual learners, and they get the pieces presented in chunks to them. So like they listen to like one chunk, then they listen to the next chunk. So when you teach these in your own classroom, would you do these separately, or do you think you would combine them in a way that everybody can get something out of it?
I think that in a 3rd, 4th, 5th grade setting, not every student has yet been exposed to notation. So I think rote is obviously more common at that age, and I think that's what I would start with. But it's nice to, you sing the melody back and then put the notation a little bit later on. Like you say, oh, this is what this means. And you start to get a feel for which notes like you're singing at a time. Like if you do the rote method and have the children sing it back, after a week you can show them the notation and be like, oh, this is what you're singing. You can see the motion of the notes.
Yes.
It all kind of works out. So it is always good to have a combination of everything.
I definitely agree with you. I like being able to use multiple things at once, because if someone doesn't learn auditory as well as they can learn visually, I feel like it would be pretty good to just write on the board like what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that. And then one more question. Actually, I lied. That first one wasn't the last question. How do you want to relate this chapter to your own teaching?
To my own teaching, well, it's a lot, because I'm on the track team. I'll be a choir director in the choral program. So I think when we first went through this chapter, the big thing that stuck out to me is PSP. Yeah. Because a lot of children aren't taught the correct, posture. Yeah. And then they'll go on to another teacher and they're, oh, we have to fix this. We have to do this one way. Yeah. So it's the best thing if you're teaching elementary choir to instill the best things right away, so you're not doing it wrong. Yeah. And like I would use the puppet, the marionette analogy every single day, just to have students check in with their posture a little bit more, because that's where it all starts. Yeah. And like you can sing, you can stretch, but if you're not in a good posture, it doesn't mean anything. So I think that's the thing that stuck out most to me. Yeah, it'll also, if they have like a better posture, I feel like it can help out with their confidence in like making like the musical decisions that they make in the future when it comes to singing and such like that. And it's kind of unfortunate, because when you're in elementary school, everybody's like, I want to be in choir, I want to be a singer when I grow up. And then you get to middle school and they're like, singing's lame, bro. Oh, yeah. I drop it. And so many people drop singing in like middle school, and it's kind of sad. Yeah. And you get to like high school, you get to your senior year, and it's only like the people who like really genuinely like want to go to school for music. And I feel like everybody should take some sort of music class. And I know they make it a requirement, but people don't really take it seriously when it is. And it's like when I was in band in middle school, no one took band seriously. It was really sad, because my teacher loved it and he loved teaching the students and stuff. People were just so disrespectful. So I definitely feel like in elementary school is definitely when you should be the most impactful on the students and give them a more positive attitude towards music. Mm-hmm. And the people who go, oh, singing's lame, some of them have really awful SoundClouds now, and I'm like, no, they like do. Like my brother is a SoundCloud rapper. Right. Yeah. And he's like, I don't need to take music classes, I'm gonna be good. And I was like, okay, sure, go for it. Okay, everyone, well, that is all for today. Thank you for being here today, Dan. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed listening to this. See you all next week for Chapter 5.